First, enormous velocity.
Hyra
and Kim.
Knowledge far in advance of our own.
That's a smart thing.
Contact is established. We now transmit you direct.
Item 9.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is terrific.
Hey guys, welcome back to Item 9 Podcast. This is Hyra.
And Kim.
Back with you guys on another Friday. I hope you guys are having a great day, a great week, a great month. We are still trying to figure out our lives, so hopefully you guys got it more together than we do.
It be like that.
I do be like that. I am currently fighting a migraine, so excuse me if I sound a little less enthused, but my hamsters are not rolling, so I am on like 2% battery. So all right, Kim, any news you want to give us today?
Any news? Nothing that I can think of.
No news.
I haven't had a jam of the week this week. Nothing new.
No, I actually have. Let me see what it was. Let me see what it was.
I have that song from Instagram stuck in my head that
Bounce that booty
Was
like
it-
a back.
No.
Oh. I'm shaking it off.
the one that says I have 3 looks and that's it. A homeless man, a 10-year-old boy, and a hooker. And that's all I got. I don't know why that's stuck in my head.
I
was like doing my laundry and I'm like, why is this playing in my mind?
have no idea.
You never heard that song?
No, I have not. That sounds like fun though.
I don't know. In my mind, like when you see people in the videos, I feel like a lot of people's homeless man and 10-year-old boy look very similar. The looks. It's usually baggy sweatshirt. The homeless man has long pants, but the 10-year-old boy has PE shorts.
No. I got, what is it? Me Too by Megan Trainor. You actually got the song stuck in my head.
When was I playing that?
You did, and you sent it to me on Instagram. It
Oh.
was
It was in the background of something.
no, it was like the main song for it. It was about that girl. Fuck, who was it? Let me see. I gotta see it now. But the one that you sent me, it was a guy singing it, and I want that one. But this one's good too. But
I'm like, I don't even remember.
it was like
I be sending you a lot of stuff, and then you get back to me so late, and I'll be like, what is that? And then when you write your comments on all the videos, I'll be like, dang, I gotta scroll back and rewatch all the videos that I sent you, because I'm like, what is she talking about? I don't forgot already.
Oh, scientists, we discovered that you can travel to a fictional world.
Oh, I was like, I will be right out into the wizarding world. Peace out, suckers. I ain't never coming back.
Oh, man. But yeah.
I'm gonna go fall in love with some wizard, and we're gonna open up a magical bookstore, and that's just gonna be the end of that.
Yeah. That song was stuck in my head. I was enjoying that.
Yeah, I'll be sending you all the good videos.
I know. I be trying. Like, I send them to the problem is I be at work too much. So sometimes, like, I want to watch them, and as soon as I sit down to start watching them, my break gets disturbed by a call because someone, like, you know, since there's only 2 people, even though I'm on break, I'm not really on break. So if someone calls and the alarm goes off more than 3 times, I gotta get up. Like, I gotta get up and check to make sure that they're okay. So most of the time it's just like, as soon as I'm like, all right, I'm done, I'm gonna take a break, it's like they sense it. They're like, nah, bitch.
They're like, she's getting comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's the same in my job too, especially if we're like short, or no, like when it's closing shift and it's towards the end of the night when I'm pulling like the drawers and counting the safe and stuff. It'd be a whole mess. But I usually send you those, like, if I use the restroom real quick, and I'll just scroll through real quick, and I'll find something funny, and I send it to you.
Yeah. But that's usually what I do too. Like I don't look at like the ones you send me. I just kind of open mine up, and same thing. If I go to the bathroom, I'm just looking to see. Excuse me. I'm just looking to see what's on there, and if I find funny when I send it. But like when I need to reply to you, I need to take a whole moment. I need to reply back. Think of something witty to say. Bitches love a reply back. So I'm like, all right, let me do this shit. So it's just I put more effort when I try to reply back.
I can't wait for this pandemic to be over. We are going to the Whaley House.
I want to go so bad.
Old Town San Diego has a lot of crystals and stones and stuff. You can pick you up a new pendulum.
Kib, you ready for another one?
Yeah.
Well, this story was actually requested. Someone messaged and asked me to research this topic. You ready to find out what it is?
Yeah, what is it?
Strap in and let's get going. This is the story of Little Bastard. You know who Little Bastard is?
Is it a doll?
No, it's James Dean's car.
Oh, I was like, I know that name, but I'm like, where do I know it from? Yes, I know. I am familiar with it.
Yeah, James
the car
Dean's
and
car.
its pieces.
Yeah, Little Bastard. So, all right, let's get going. So, if you guys don't know, James Dean was this really iconic male actor from back in the 50s. And I don't know, I feel like he hasn't been in a lot of films. I think he's only been like in 3 movies. But the thing is, like, so many people like him because he's like, I guess, the perfect example of like teen angst and a brooding male with complex feelings and stuff like that. So like a lot of women really gravitated towards that. So one of his favorite hobbies was racing cars. So, this was before he got super, super famous. He's still, acting. He hasn't, he's not that big yet. So he enters his first race, and he's actually pretty good. He actually ends up winning 3rd place the first time he goes on, the tarmac and stuff like that. And after a few months, girl, this dude is winning, like, 1st place. Like, he's getting really good. And people were saying that if he would have continued racing, he probably would not only have had a really successful acting career, but a really good race car driving career as well. But the thing is, as he signs a contract, I think it's with Warner Brothers. I think he signs a contract with Warner Brothers. And, when you have someone scheduled to do movies, you don't want your merch to get damaged. So Warner Brothers like, listen, we know you like race car driving, but you're gonna have to pick. Do you want to like act, or do you want to go do you want to be racing? Because with us, you can't do both, because we're gonna need you in movies, and we can't have you getting hurt during shoots. So he decides to continue his acting career. But the thing is, he had one more race. He was signed up for one more race. So he was pretty much, I'm going to do this race. This is my last race. And after that, I'm focusing on acting. So, poor James is all sad because he had to pick between his acting or racing. So, he's cruising down LA or whatever. All of a sudden, he's cruising down LA when through a window, he sees a Porsche. But not just any Porsche, Tim. He spots the 550 Spider. And this dude is like, this car is calling me. This car is fucking for me. So he walks into that fucking dealership same day he gets that car, right? He's like, you know what? Since this is going to be my last race, let me get this baby done up. So, he goes, he gets his car personalized because, he wants to make a statement while he's on, the track, right? So he goes and he finds a guy named George Barris. And, he has him personalize it for him. So he gets tartan seats. He gets the number 130 put on the hood and the name Little Bastard painted just under the Porsche emblem on the engine cover, right? So, shout out to Dean Jeffries for, that bomb-ass lettering on Little Bastard, because he's the one who did it. And this dude is so happy with his fucking car. Like, once he it comes out of the fucking, shop, he's like, yes, like, I'm feeling it. This is my car. So he hops in the car, right? And he starts driving. And he goes and he meets up with a British actor. His name is Alec Guinness. And girl, I just have screenshot. Girl, this is what this dude says. The sports car looked sinister to me. Exhausted, hungry, feeling a little ill-tempered in spite of Dean's kindness. I heard myself saying in a voice I could hardly recognize as my own, "Please never get in it. If you get in that car, you will be found dead in it by this time next week." And, Dean, he didn't take it as anything serious. He just kind of laughed it off. But my question is, like, if you over here being possessed by something, because obviously you're saying it's not your own voice, and you're giving a message from some unknown entity, like, I think I'd be a little more, like, nah, really, dude, don't get in there. Like, I don't know what just happened. That was really me. But if it's coming out, I would not get in that car. But, he didn't say any, like, James just laughed it off, and, he just kept it going, right? So, Alec Guinness actually told him this on September 23rd, 1955. And 7 days later, I wonder if this is where they got the inspiration from fucking, The Ring.
Christine.
Huh? What?
We both said completely different horror movies.
We did. Like, yes, Christine. But
Because that made more sense than The Ring.
No, hold on. Because, usually, like, they'll get the call and they'll be like, 7 days.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm all like, okay, yes, Christine. I was going to, because, that's the obvious, Christine. But, like, Alec Guinness told him, "You have 7 days, my dude." So I'm wondering if this was, like, the inspiration. It's like, you know what? That's weird. 7 days? That sounds like an interesting movie. So they made The Ring. 7 days.
I doubt it, because remember, The Ring is based off after a Japanese horror film. And I don't think they care about James Dean.
You'd be surprised. A lot of people actually like a lot of American content. Just like, right now, that whole K-pop thing is going on. Like, it's always been a thing in Korea,
but you know how it always takes years later before that stuff, like, kicks in. Like, we'll be into something now, and then 5 years later, they into it. Like,
True.
And vice versa. Like, because obviously K-pop's been a big thing for a long time, and, like, America's just now jumping on.
Yeah.
So, stuff doesn't pass as quickly as you would think. Just like, what was it, in Europe, when the whole, like, soul music resurfaced there, and so, like, a lot of artists, because they talk about Cadillac Records, a lot of those artists who had kind of fizzled out here, their music finally started to, like, blow up over there, and so a lot of them went overseas to continue to do shows and stuff and make more money. And so that stuff happens all the time, where it just take a little time for it to catch on somewhere else.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Cadillac Records.
It's based off of a true story. Like, you tell your brother, it is what it is. Most of the time we do say spoiler alert before we spoil it. But this is, like, loosely a biopic. And so it is what it is. I shouldn't have to say spoiler alert when it's based off a true story.
Well, some people don't know the history, okay? And now they're going to go watch Cadillac Records.
I didn't say which artist it was, because I don't think it was everybody.
But anyway, this is spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it kind of reminds me like that.
I'm just thinking, like, the I Am Sophie episode, part 2 that's going up today. Flat out, I spoiled Stepford Wives, the original and the newer one from the 2000s, before we said spoiler alert.
I feel
and
like we
left
always
it in there
remembering,
too.
like, after we're done, I'm like, him, just because you're gonna edit it, I'm gonna, like, just throw in spoiler alert and cut it in, like, bloop.
I need a sound bite.
Spoiler alert, please skip.
It is what it is. Sometimes we're gonna spoil stuff because we be talking about movies on here.
Yeah.
I apologize in advance. You should have watched it. Like, I don't tell you. Just
anyway, where I was going is, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It kind of reminds me of that, because remember how he was a really big, like, Western actor and stuff like that? And then, Westerns weren't a big thing here anymore. So he had to go to Italy to make Italian movies. Goddamn Italian movies. Don't let the Mexicans see you cry. That's my favorite quote. That was fucked up. Alright. So, he said this to him, like, 7 days later, James and Ralph Weatherick you know, they're getting Little Bastard ready because, like I said, this is his last race that he's gonna do for a while because, you know, he committed to acting. So, you know, Ralph, he's actually a Porsche mechanic. So, you know, they're over here getting the car ready, and he tells James, listen, you just got this car. Instead of towing, because the plan was to tow Little Bastard in, you know, in a tow truck and take on a van and take him to the Selena's racetrack, right? And the guy's like, listen, my advice to you is you just got this car. You got to break in the engine. If I were you, I would drive the car to Selena's so you can get used to driving the car and you can also break in the engine at the same time. So, you know, James he has a need for speed. So he's like, yes, let's do it. So, you know, James hops in the in the driver's side, and Ralph the passenger side, and, you know, they go off, right? They leave a coffee shop at 1:15 p.m. and at about 1:15 p.m. and then like around 3:30 p.m. California Highway Patrol stops them, and he gives, you know, James a ticket for speeding. And it's funny because he was going 65 on a 55, which isn't that big of a difference, but, like, you know, whatever.
Hey, they set those speed limits for a reason.
So he got a ticket. And, you know, he's going, right? So now this is one, I'm not sure exactly. Some places say Route 41. Some say Route 466. I'm not sure. But we're in one of these routes, right? And we're on one of these routes. And there's a 23-year-old, Donald Turnip Speed, which I think is hilarious. That last name, Turnip Speed. Like, what are the chances? Okay.
It's probably not his real last name.
Supposedly it is. Supposedly it was Donald Turnip Speed. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So this 23-year-old dude, you know, he's driving and he decides to make a left turn. He's making a left turn. As soon as he's in the middle of the street, James is coming at him at 85 miles an hour. And he tries to avoid him and he cannot. So they have a head-on collision. Yeah. Ralph ends up being flung out of the car. And he's like on the shoulder on the other side. And James got stuck inside of his car and, you know, got messed up. So the police comes, you know, they end up taking them to a hospital 30 miles away. And James Dean, unfortunately, is pronounced dead on arrival at 6:20 p.m. on that day. Ralph, luckily, he lived. Even though he had really serious injuries, he lived. And
that's crazy. He flew out the car and lived. And James Dean stayed in the car and died.
Yeah, but, you know, he got smushed in the car. Remember, it was like and then freaking what's his name?
It reminds me of spoiler alert. Was it Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof?
I love Death Proof.
They had the guy with that the stuntman Mike with his car, and he crashes into the girls, and he does this. Well, he tries to do it twice. So you watch the whole thing happen with one set of women that he sees at a bar. He meets at a bar, crashes into them, and also kills a girl in the wreck on purpose that was in his passenger seat that he offered a ride home. And then, you know, he lives, and then boom, later he runs into a group of women driving, tries to do the same thing, but he chose the wrong group of women.
To do it.
I definitely recommend watching. You know what? Also, I would recommend watching the whole double feature because Quentin Tarantino is like besties with director Robert Rodriguez, and, you know, they appear in each other's work and they help each other a lot. And so they, back in the day, made this double feature called Grindhouse.
Oh, I love Grindhouse.
And so the first movie is Planet Terror, which is okay. It's zombie. The zombies are just gross. Like, stuff is, body parts is dripping off. Like, that dude's penis, like, and balls and stuff. The whole sack fell off in the movie. And it was Quentin Tarantino.
His ball sack
and then,
disintegrated.
Yeah, he was, guest, like, being a character in Robert Rodriguez part. So he did, it was a whole movie. And then they had the little fake movie trailers in the middle, which some of those movies were actually made later, like Machete.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Hobo with a Shotgun was in there.
Yeah.
And there was a few other ones. And some of those movies they
Hobo
made. And
with
then
the
the
Shotgun
second
is a
part
fucking
is
trip.
Death Proof. Huh?
Have you seen Hobo with a Shotgun?
Yeah.
That's just fucking wild. I can't believe
I haven't
it.
seen it in a while, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
All of their movies. It's crazy to think that, like, the same guy who made Planet Terror and, like, Machete is also the same guy that makes the Spy Kids movies.
Oh, yeah.
And then he used some of the same actors. So it's like a wild contrast.
That took a hard left.
You know what? I haven't seen... And then it came back. Like, because what he did... What is that movie with the vampires at the bar?
Friday Night? Oh, the bar. Oh, till dawn till dusk.
Yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
So
there you go.
Yeah, he did that like in the 90s, and then
That
in the
one's good.
2000s did the Spy Kids movies, and then went back and like 2010s did like Machete and stuff. So
Oh, man.
I haven't watched Spy Kids in forever. I might have to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like the first two, those are really good. The third one's okay too, and I haven't seen anything past that point.
Yeah.
So, because that's at that point I've aged out.
So, actually, Donald Turnip Speed, he left that scene with just a scratch on his nose. He was fine.
Dang.
Nothing
You
wrong
out-
with him.
That's crazy. That doesn't even make sense. You fly out a car. He didn't skid on the ground a little bit.
Nope.
Did he have a jacket on that protected him from the ground?
No, not him. That's Ralph. Remember, he's the one I said who went to the hospital with serious injuries?
Oh, wait. Okay,
This is
wait.
the
Turnip
kid.
Speed was in his car? Was
Yeah,
in James Dean's car?
No. He was the one that they hit. He was the one who was just minding his own business.
Oh,
being-
Ralph was in James Dean's car.
Yeah, Ralph was inside James Dean's car. Okay, so James Dean and Ralph are both inside of Little Bastard. Donald Turnip Speed, he's
Is
the
in
one.
his car.
Yeah, he's the one who just happened to get hit. He was not going fast. He was going whatever, doing his thing, whatever.
The speed limit.
The speed limit, yeah. So Donald Turnip Speed, he actually left that place, with just a scratch on his nose. He was fine other than that. But James, dead on arrival at 6:20 p.m. and then Ralph ends up going to the hospital. It's crazy because I saw some articles which were saying that Ralph was dead, and then I saw other articles were saying he was alive. So I just kind of went with he's alive because I guess he did some sort of interview with what happened or whatever. So
Afterward.
yeah, so
Maybe he, has passed now, but
Maybe.
at that time survived.
yeah. But I don't
And
know.
that's
Some
where
of the
the
articles I was
confusion was
reading
coming.
was like he was like both of them were gone, and I was like, God damn. But it's believable, like like you get flung out of a car, like
Yeah, on a head-on collision. Like,
oh yeah, like I was like I was surprised when I read that he was alive. I was like, bro. But then I
he was
heard
like
that
alive.
yeah, it was crazy, but yeah. So that happens. So remember George Barris? He was the actual guy who helped customize James Dean's car, right?
Yeah.
He ends up buying the wreckage for $2,500, which people assume that the reason why he bought it was, to be able to sell tickets for people to see the car that James Dean died in or whatever. Yeah, but also to sell the good parts of the car, right? So he ends up going and he ends up taking like pieces of the car that are good and selling them to other people. So after he buys the car, see, at this point, this car's already fucking giving fucking Christine vibes, alright? So, on the way to being transported from, the lot from the police station where it was taken for, investigation, whatever, they put it in the car, and while they're going to deliver it, the fucking car slips off the trailer and breaks the mechanic's leg.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Said you ain't gonna use me for
Yep.
money.
Mm-hmm. So, Bears ends up selling the engine and drivetrain to 2 race car drivers. Their name is Troy McHenry and William Eskridge. And, you know, both of these guys are like, you know, they like to race their cars. So after they bought these pieces, they put them in their car and they had like a friendly little, you know, race.
Against each other?
Against each other, yeah, because they knew each other.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So while they were racing each other, Troy lost control of his car and hit a tree and died on impact. And William, his wheels suddenly locked up out of nowhere, and his car rolled off and, you know, rolled away a few times. But luckily, he didn't die. He was just seriously injured, but he was fine other than the serious injuries. George actually had 2 good tires that belonged to Little Bastard, so, you know, he ended up selling them. And tell me why, when they put these wheels on this car, both of the wheels simultaneously exploded, and the poor guy also did a few rolls off the road.
Exploded.
Yes, simultaneously.
Simultaneously.
At the same time. Yes. So, you know, I don't know if at this part George is starting to see this as this is a weird coincidence, or if he's starting to see this as maybe there's something going on with this car. But he kept the car, right? He kept the car for parts, and these 2 guys saw it, and he's like, "Ooh, these Porsche pieces. We can use some of them."
Porsche pieces.
Yeah. So they break into his garage and try, you know, they proceed on to stealing pieces of this car. And while one of them is trying to get the steering wheel out of its little spot, he tore his whole arm open. He tore his arm open, Kim. Yes.
How?
I have no idea. They don't say how. He just started bleeding everywhere. So the
because he's taking off
the steering
wheel, not the tire. Oh, the steering wheel.
He's trying to take
the steering wheel.
Yeah. Maybe they brought a truck and they're like, we're gonna take all we can get and, you know, bounce out of here.
I don't know. My mind is just trying to like picture how he would rip his arm open. Like,
yeah, I have no idea, but
taking a steering wheel.
And
I guess you had to be there.
You had to be there to witness it. I know. So, you know, obviously, as you can tell, there was some blood, you know, on these fantastic tartan seats that James Dean got customized in there. Yeah. So the other guy, the other thief, tries to clean to remove the blood, and somehow he ends up injuring himself too.
Cleaning up the blood off the seats?
Yep, he ended up getting injured. What I can picture is, because, you know, the car is like smushed in, you know what I mean? So what I can picture is he's probably trying to clean like the blood, and like there's like some like metal that's like sticking out, and he was like trying to carelessly like clean the blood off so he can take his homie to the hospital, you know what I mean? So like he's over here just trying to, and then all of a sudden slash. That's all I can really picture, but you know, that's car 3, thief 0, so
he said, how dare you try to steal my parts.
Exactly. So there must have been some more shit that happened, because after this, George, he's all like, I'm just gonna take this car and hide it somewhere. But the CHP actually ends up talking him out of it. He's like, no, don't bury that piece of treasure. What about you give it to us, and we can put it on exhibits to show people why they should drive safely. So, you know, Barris, you know, he's like, all right, sure. So he lets the CHP borrow the car so he can put it on exhibits, right? So, exhibit 1 caught on fire. The garage it was in, the whole thing caught on fire except for Little Bastard. Little Bastard was the only thing that was left standing after the flames dissipated.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's still there. Exhibit 2 is in a high school, and that didn't last long either, because that car fell off of its display and broke this kid's hip. Yep. And, you know, like I said, this car...
Dang, how close was he standing to it?
Well, you know, when you go by these exhibits, you can get really close to it, you know what I mean? Like, and even if he wasn't super close, that car is heavy, so if it would have fell down, maybe all that
Would've
momentum could have
moved.
just. And let's not forget, this car is cursed also, so it has some sort of magical powers. So it's obviously gonna hit somebody. Like,
So if it had decided to hit him regardless of where he was at,
girl, I have a
it would have
better one.
happened.
Just wait. So, like I said, this is the car that keeps on giving, right? So, well, this car is being transported on this truck. You're gonna love this, Kim.
Listen.
This truck is carrying Little Bastard, right? And all of a sudden, this truck just loses control. Nobody knows how this driver lost control of his car, but he lost control of his car. Somehow, this dude ended up falling out of his truck. He falls out of his truck. And I think just as he's thinking, like, all right, I'm safe, I'm not in the truck, I'm good, Little Bastard comes off of the truck, like the back end, and ends up hitting him. Yeah. So he ends up getting crushed by the car after it fell off of the back. After somehow he ended up getting out of the car. This car was out for some blood. Like, I'm telling you, this car has some magical powers. If it wants to hit somebody, it's gonna happen.
And you said, where did you think you were going?
You was next, my friend. You're like, oh, you think you safe? Hold on, let me unlatch real quick.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, so, you know, the CHP is also done with this car shenanigans. And it's like, you know what? We're just going to send you back home for some timeout. But this car was not having it. Because when they put this car in a truck to send it back to George, the car disappeared. And it has never been seen. Hasn't been seen since then. So,
Guess it just drove off. It was like, peace out, suckers.
without two wheels, without its engine, like, you know,
It stole some.
maybe.
We can't put it past this car that's hitting people that, you know, jump out the way, and children who, you know, shouldn't get hit at the exhibit.
Gosh, this is
Stranger
Jeepers.
things have happened.
Yeah, this is Jeepers Creepers car. You know what I mean? Like, it's just out here
Also, you know,
collecting.
someone could have stole it, put wheels on it because they were going to drive it, and it could have drove off after that point.
Well, I don't think you could fix the car because it was like smudged. Like, if you see pictures of the exhibits, because you know how it was actually in exhibits for a while, this car looks like there was no saving it. Like, I don't even know where they got these pieces from because it looked like it got messed up.
Hey, I seen Christine, and she got beat up one time, and
Oh,
she
yeah, that's true.
popped those dents back out.
You know, just
She's like, oh, this stretch back out.
So, Volo Auto Museum has offered a $1 million reward to anyone who can help find and acquire the car for them, you know, to have, because they want to put it in their museum, right? So, 10 years later, this guy calls, right? And he's like, listen, I remember when I was 6 years old, I accompanied my dad to this place, and him and one other guy actually worked together to put Little Bastard behind of a fake wall. And he's all like, this false wall is in Whatcom country in Washington, Whatcom County in Washington. And, you know, they kept him, you know, they were talking to him, they gave him a polygraph test and everything, and he passed. So, you know, they're trying to be like, hey, okay, well, if you know where it's at, help us find it. And this dude doesn't want to give the exact location because he wants to get a cut of that $1 million, right? Because even so, Volo is only willing to give the $1 million to the person who will sell it to them, right? And right now, George Barris is, from what we know, he's the true owner of the car since he bought it. But
So, like, they can't buy it
from this dude.
and then, you know, expect to tell people if they don't go through him.
Exactly. And the thing is, this guy knows that fucking $1 million, that dude George is not going to try to split it with this kid who probably stole it from him. Well, his family probably stole it from him, you know what I mean? So they haven't reached an agreement or anything like that, and this guy has not discussed the location of the car because he's pretty sure he's not going to get any of the money.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Little Bastard. That's that about that, you know. I'm telling you, it was wild. I knew about, like, I kind of knew about the curse, but I didn't know how many people it got. I didn't know it totally unlatched itself and went after a dude. Like, I'm like, how does that even happen?
That's the question, really.
Yep.
It's a ghost or something comes out of that car
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and, you know, hooks pieces back together.
Yep. Well, thank you, Israel, for requesting this one, because I was like, wow, like, fucking this is literally Christine right here. Like,
Yeah.
they just made it a woman and changed the name.
You know what, though? If you haven't seen Christine,
You definitely should.
watch it.
Please.
It's good. It's about this guy, it's always about some teenagers,
Mm-hmm.
gets his car, and, you know, it goes downhill from there.
Rapidly.
Because, yeah, that scene where the bullies they took baseball bats to the car,
Oh, yeah.
and then the car, like, fixed itself. You're like,
Mhm. You're like, okay,
what
this
is
is really
happening?
happening. This is really happening, you guys. It's a witch. I can't.
I wonder
can't
if it's
explain it.
on, because, you know, HBO got some good movies right now. I wonder if this is on there,
Mhm.
because I can watch that
Mhm.
tonight.
Yeah. So, what do you think about Little Bastard? Do you think he's still out there? Do you think this is even true? Like, obviously, you know, the part with what happened there and some of these people getting hurt. But do you think this car is really cursed, or do you think people just don't know how to hook up this car right?
I'm pretty sure that car is really cursed.
Yeah, me too. Ready for this oracle moment we're about to have?
Oh yeah, I gotta grab the card. This week's oracle card is number 11, Change in the Night. That doesn't sound familiar, but it probably is, because I think we've gone through most of these cards.
I don't think so. For how many episodes we have and how many cards are in there?
Number 11, Changed in the Night. You have changed quickly. Says suddenly unexpected change, a shock, unexpected news, adjusting to a new situation, finding out more about who you are, inexperience and uncertainty, and identity crisis due to changed circumstances.
Wow. Sounds like we about to get a shocker.
Man, you know what though? Long as it's positive, I could use a little switch up, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on this Friday. If you guys enjoyed this episode, I hope you guys did. And there's anything you guys would want us to research, if you think Kim would be awesome in one topic, or if there's something you just want to blow my mind away on and I'd be like, holy crap, please send us a DM on Instagram, Item9 Podcast. We also have a email in case you guys don't want to have any kind of social media. Just go ahead and send it to item9podcast@gmail.com. One of us will get to you, I promise. And you know, I think we're starting to do better. Like, this is the second request, second story I've had. So I think I've been getting to it. I have my other stories on hold for now, but you know, I'm doing this.
Yeah,
for
we
you
also
guys.
have the Facebook and a Twitter where you can also reach us.
Yes, definitely. Just look up Item9 Podcast on Facebook and on Twitter. What's our
And on
handle?
Instagram, everything is Item9 Podcast. The
There
word
you go.
9.
The word 9, yes. ITEMNINE podcast. So thank you guys for sharing your time with us. This is Hyra.
And Kim,
And don't you ever forget that you're the bee's knees.
Item 9.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next week. Doodles.
Bye.